Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us. This is one of the candidate interviews that we are conducting as part of Hartsdale Neighbors Association for the Greenburgh Central School District. As a reminder, this coming Tuesday, or not this coming Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, May 18th, is the election date for the 3 open seats for the Board of Elections, as well as the budget vote. Please make sure to come out and vote. Hours of voting are between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. at Woodlands High School. If you have any questions about when you can vote or if you're eligible to vote, please email us at info@hartsdaleneighbors.org, and we will be happy to answer any questions. So we are joined tonight by Board of Education candidate Terry Williams. He'll be answering a couple of questions for us and sharing a little bit about himself and why he's running for school board. So with that, Terry, I'm just going to kick it off and go straight into the first question. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you were running for school board?
Thank you to the Hartsdale Neighborhood Association for hosting this and providing a platform and inform the public about the different positions of the candidates. I am a 18-year veteran, so obviously I'm an incumbent. I have lived here in the town of Greenburgh for 30 years. I have 2 sons, both of whom went through the school district, through the school system, and graduated. And school board because this is a particularly interesting time for us. Obviously, we will have a new superintendent by the time the new board takes their seats, and I think my experience will be beneficial to the superintendent. I with 3 new superintendents during my career, and I think I understand the nuances of our district and the pitfalls, and I could provide guidance to help smooth the transition for a new superintendent.
Okay. So the next question that we have, in what ways do you think our school district is succeeding, and what do you think needs to be improved?
Well, one thing, the level, the successful things that have occurred here are numerous. Under Dr. Chase's leadership, instituted a number of new programs. Not so new anymore since she's been here 7 years. And I think with a supportive board, it's very easy, not easy for her, but certainly we created an environment that made that possible. So for instance, the IB program we now have is, fully engaged in the district. The start of that actually preceded her, but through her efforts, and through an accommodative and supportive board, she was able to get that accreditation. The Mandarin program that she has started, the World Languages program, which features Mandarin, and by prominently, I mean we have instruction in K through 12 is another, I think, feather in our cap. Out program, which is basically the gifted program for students in the which is something that, again, Dr. Chase implemented, was a very good program, and I'm proud to part of the board that paved the way for that as well. What needs to be improved, quite frankly, what needs to be improved is we need an engaged public who demands accountability from board members. As a year or so, things have gone off the rails, and that is because we've had board members who have opposed the superintendent for no good reasons, and has allowed personal animosities to take over some things. Another thing that needs to be improved, obviously, is also our infrastructure and our buildings. The conditions of those are very bad, and talk about that a little bit more in another question. Thank you.
Got it? Okay. Okay, so the next question is, we obviously have a new superintendent coming in. What are your expectations of the new superintendent in your first year, in their first year with Greenberg Central?
Sure. The biggest expectation is for her to become acclimated to the district, to learn the administrators that are already in place, who are already in place. We have a few who are tenured, so it's not like it's not like a corporation, her people in all levels. You know, some of our people are here, and rightfully so. I'm glad that they are here. I mean, we have great principals at the high school, at Bailey, at Highview, at Lee F. Jackson, and obviously she'll have an experience position. She obviously has to get to know these people and be able to engage them and you know, get them on her side. She has to do is she has to stabilize the leadership openings that we will be having. There are a few other positions that are open. And she will be charged with getting that stabilized and finding the right people to put in place. I think coming probably puts her at a little bit of a detriment, because an in-state person could have already identified people just through their own network. I think the other thing she obviously has to do is to get comfortable and familiar with the board. You know, it's not easy under any circumstances, learning a new board, and certainly a board as, you know, potentially and dysfunctional as ours has been under the, you know, the current board leadership. So she will have to learn how to navigate that, and I'll be able to help her do that, just given my experience and the fact that I've dealt with new superintendents during my years.
Okay. Our next question, can you share with us a time that you had a positive influence either within a board meeting, a committee meeting, a community forum, or you know, any other experience that you'd like to share?
Sure. I think, well, certainly, yeah, absolutely. 2 years ago, when we were trying to convince the residents to pass the bond to finance construction, we ran into a lot of opposition, since the vote failed by a 2-to-1 margin. But you know, during multiple open sessions that we had, you know, we encountered a level of hostility from the public, and you know, one I didn't really particularly like was that we put Dr. Chase front and center on this. Now, obviously, she's the spokesperson for the district, but the fact of the matter is, to move forward with this, and we should have had some messaging along to support Dr. Chase. So at one, we were taking some blows from the public, and I decided that that was enough, that we had to explain why our buildings were in poor shape, had to come from the trustees. It couldn't come from the superintendent. She wasn't here during much of that. So what I did is I tapped David Warner, who was then the president of the board, Lloyd Newland, a past president of the board, and myself, a former president of the board. I think that was probably the third meeting, and I called them up to the front of the room, and we took turns explaining to the public that situation, why the buildings were in the situation that they were in. And I think, well, obviously it didn't convince enough people to vote for the, what it did do, I think, is it showed the public a united face on that issue. And it was particularly, it wasn't rehearsed. I literally took a risk here, assuming that, hey, Dave and Lloyd are going to agree that our buildings were in the shape that they were in, is primarily because, you know, over the years, the budgets had, the public to pass budgets, and we decided to prioritize instructional, using the money for instructional more for our buildings, because that would have been more palatable to the electorate at the time. And so again, the mere fact of the three of us standing, I think, was very helpful. I think I recall, I recall one of my colleagues saying, and I don't think I've been called a wise man before that or since, but I think it was very helpful to the public to see, with a unified message. And, while it was the three of us, it was my initiative to get us up there. And so in her explanation to the public.
Okay, we have three questions remaining. The next question: what do you see is your greatest strength as a leader, and in what areas would you like to improve your leadership skills?
Sure. My three greatest strengths, I think, that I bring to this position is experience, transparency, and accountability. The experience speaks for itself. For 18 years, our school district has steadily improved in that time, and it took a exponential, but it certainly really strengthened under Dr. Chase's leadership. And I think my experience dealt with a number of superintendents previously made it easy for me to identify some her when she came our way. Obviously, she came our way in a way that was not expected. Her previous boss, and she stepped in as an interim, but we were comfortable with her because of the leadership traits that was. For me, that was my experience in dealing with superintendents when I realized that we had something special in her. My transparency. I'm transparent about stuff, Eric, and H&A. I'm going to kind of put transparency in a. I like to be open and honest with the public. Open and honest doesn't necessarily, I mean, I agree with everything to the public, and I want you to hold me accountable. And I don't shirk away from accountability, which is why during the process of replacing Dr. Chase, I pushed the limits on some of the transparency and accountability. I did some unorthodox, but never illegal things. And I'm happy for that, because I come from a tradition of being open and honest. And, as they used to say, tell it to me straight, give it to me straight. I like to deal. I don't like euphemisms, because quite frankly, I don't have time for that. And I don't think the public wants that. And those are the traits that I think I bring. One thing I think I can improve in is obviously, not responding, everything that is said that is detrimental or critical of the district. And, I once read a book, Malcolm Gladwell. Gladwell has written a lot of books, as we all know, but I think what a lot of people fail to realize is, his books, or certainly The Tipping Point, is about marketing. And one of the things that he talked about in that book is he was describing how was able to bounce back at some point in the mid 80s. And part of that was by responding to negative and detrimental situations. And I've taken that to heart as a board member, and in other. But sometimes one needs to be a little bit more judicious in their response, and that's what I'm going to do going forward. Thank you. Excuse me for 1 second.
Okay, the next question is about the budget. The budget is going to be the vote for the budget is the same day as the vote for the Board of Elections. That's again May 18th. Speaking on behalf of Hartsdale Neighbors Association, we hope that residents will vote to approve the budget. what do you see as the top 3 budget priorities moving forward?
Well, I thank you for that. I hope as well that the residents of the town will also approve the budget. You know, as in any budget, the top 3 priorities are instructional, and in this case, really important is infrastructure and buildings. You know, obviously, we've had some difficulties with our buildings, pounded by the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, some of the problems that we had, that we kind of, because of financing, we now definitely have to deal with. And, you know, certainly money coming from the federal government will help that as, you know, uh, those, the 3 top priorities in my mind never change. You know, obviously instructional is why we're here. This is why we do this. You know, personnel is the biggest portion of any budget, any school budget. And listen, we have to take care of our teachers. One of the good things did, and perhaps Dr. Valenti, is we recognized that we had a very experienced team. And, you know, with the more experienced your staff is, the more money they make. And, you know, some of our teachers probably were not as engaged as we would have liked, and they recognized that. And through the use of incentives to incentivize some of them to retire money, and then hire newer and younger teachers, or teachers who were still had a level of energy was in line with what we thought, what they thought our students needed. So we've been able to lower our costs of instruction and personnel, but raise the level of engagement. I think we've always had high quality teachers, but certainly, you know, they in an organization are doing a certain task, there's a chance that you might lose some enthusiasm. And I think that that has the judicious use of retirement incentives for some of the older teachers. So that budget, and that has allowed us to do some other things. And as I said, the other part is infrastructure, and we really have to get that under control. Uh, we can't keep putting off. I mean, obviously we've gotten some federal money that will allow us to make some. It has to again reckon with the fact that our buildings are old, and that we may be throwing good, try to keep them up to par for our students.
Okay, this is the last question. So anyone who's interested in learning more about you is likely to Google you or search online. What will those people find in a Google search, and what would you like them to know about those search results?
You know what? I don't Google myself very often. So, and I saw this question, and I should have Googled it and found out myself. What I find is that the stances that I've taken uh, in support of Greenberg and the school district in particular. And Eric, as you know, one thing that I am particularly strong about and proud about, but struggle with us, is the town of Greenberg financially encroaching on us. You know, you and I met each other over the effort by Edgemont to secede, and you know, we were talking about the role I played in getting the Valhalla School District to return the money that Paul Feiner and the board at that time, you know, gave to the way. And the significant thing about that is this. Um, you know, well, the significant thing is that it was kleptocracy, basically. Well, I don't know if kleptocracy, because, you know, Valhalla didn't steal anything; they gave it away. It was just poor leadership. Town of Greenberg is continuing to do that right in front of our faces. So, you know, there was the instance, the board of the affordable housing complex on Manhattan Avenue, they wanted to give us 20,000 years. They give us, meaning the school district, but there was a clause in the law that allowed the town to come in and take $100,000 lump sum, and that money they took it, and quite frankly, I'm gonna again and straightforward. Mr. Finer smiles in our face and says one thing, but he that are detrimental to the district. During the budget, during the school bond issue, he floated a red herring, said the traffic in the area of the Juniper Hill area of town would be impacted by the traffic. Is your issue, Mr. Finer. That is for you to solve. The other thing that really is problematic for us to be aware of is the potential of a taxable property coming off the rolls if a new police station and courthouse. For instance, if the ICE building on Hillside Avenue comes off the roll, that's 300 will be lost to the school district. We have to stand up to the town. We have to strategize and work with our higher level officials, financially compromising this district. Just because somebody smiles at you and says nice things to you doesn't mean they always have your. So there.
Okay, so that's all the questions that we had for today. I want to thank Terry for participating in our forum. These videos are all going to be posted online shortly. Final reminder that the vote is on May 18th. Voting hours are from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And Terry, if anyone has any additional follow-up questions for you, how can those people get in touch with you or learn more about your candidacy?
They can call me. My phone number is 914-318-2183. I have no problem with people calling me. My email, the school district website, so they can find that twilliams@greenburgcsd.org. Just don't call me late at night or too early in the morning or doing business hours, but yeah, call me. I'm willing to talk at it. Also, I'm a great listener. And I'll give it to you straight.
All right. Thank you, Terry. We are going to wrap it up here. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And if you have any questions about Hartsdale Neighbors or the election, please email us at info@hartsdaleneighbors.org.
Thank you.